Hello there everyone and welcome back. Finally I'm going to take a break from the Imperial Navy for the time being, even though I'm just now getting really close again to the legendary ranking, so the game is trying to tease me, it's trying to reel me back in. But at the end of the day, let's try and diversify our play a little bit, and in this case, I'm going to be playing with the Aeldari yet again, in what feels like forever. And in truth, I haven't really been playing the Aeldari all that much because I worry that it's just going to cause more frustration to my opponents than anything else, not from me mismanaging or miscontrolling my fleet. There is always a possibility of that. No, especially in cases where we've had a lot of resurgence of players due to sales and all that, I would hate to scare them off or intimidate them just because of how the Aeldari can feel sometimes when you're on the losing end of that battle. It can be frustrating. It could definitely be difficult, especially in the case of Drukhari and Corsairs that are heavily reliant on their mobility and their stealth tactics. But in this case, I'm going to play with the Asuryani yet again, and go a little more brute force. And by brute force I mean no stealth tactics of course, and we have the heavier armor, which basically, with the hull field fully charged, these things technically are just as durable as like a strike cruiser from Space Marines or the Necron fleet. Because keep in mind, yeah, the hull field cuts the accuracy in half, so these things are basically as good as having 83 armor on top of their hull field, allowing them to mitigate a lot of the lance damage they might take. So they're incredibly resilient so long as you don't get in ramming range or get hit by torpedoes or bombers. Those are like the only things that can ignore the hull field, with that said. So, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this fleet that I used to get to legendary rank before. Hell, I think I just fell off from legendary rank before it applied, so yeah. Despite my attempts there, it just put me back into, not legendary rank, but whatever the rank was before that. I suppose I could check over here if it'll tell me. Nope. I figured it would tell me, but either way, it's the same fleet and I look forward to playing with it for an episode at least. And then I'll dive on over to playing with the Corsair fleet that I have in mind. So let's have some fun, and hopefully not ruin anyone's day. Alright, so it looks like we got ourselves a really intense match, possibly. At least it's a person I do not recognize for the life of me. Although their portraits suggest they may have an idea what to do. And I am going to have to get reacclimated with the Asuryani. I will be perfectly honest, I've had a Space Marine match there, which sadly the game crashed on me halfway through, but suffice to say, I felt a little bit rusty with the amount of time I had with the Asuryani. Alright, just give me a moment there, I was turning down the audio a little bit. I don't know if it showed anything on your end or not, since I had a little gauge on the top left. But otherwise, I am probably a little bit rusty, and it was apparent when I had to go up against Devil Battle Barge. I don't want to say that I was on the losing end of it, but my damage was definitely spread out quite a bit. And I was being slow with my abilities, but like I said, the game crashed about halfway through before we got a conclusion, but actually, this is a good opportunity to spread out because I shouldn't be trying to give away my light cruiser. As what's the word I'm trying to say? As unuseful, or how, I don't know what the phrase I want. There's not a lot of incentive to use the light cruisers or even the frigates for the Asuryani. The sad, unfortunate fact of the matter is, but there is a little bit of benefit in the light cruiser in that it allows me to reveal them ahead of time, perhaps. But otherwise, with the way the fleet is currently developed, or at least built for the Asuryani, there is almost no incentive to really have a frigate or even a light cruiser. And that hinders the Asuryani's scouting potential quite heavily. Otherwise, what do we have? 5 ships, I suspect maybe a bunch of Grand Cruisers. That seems to be likely here. If they were Exorcists, we would probably be seeing some Exorcists right now, or at least fighters. So it may not quite be that just yet, but I would like to reveal this one ship and try and out-jump on it. And with that said, I probably wanted... Well, that was a bad mistake on my part. I was going to grab that objective. I probably should still grab that point, with that said. Since I have kind of control of the map to basically do whatever I want. I just don't get to do the damage... I don't get to do the ideal amount of damage to this one ship if it's like a flagship or Grand Cruiser or anything like that. It is a cruiser of some kind, and with how quickly it grabbed the point, I want to say it's a battleship. Or again, a Grand Cruiser. Which may be what the fleet suggests. And let's see, let's actually grab the point properly this time. Alright, battleship, Mike warp jump, that's fine. That burns one charger to Mike warp jump at least, so I'm okay with this. Hell, imagine if I dived there super aggressively and went after, or at least cancel his boarding. There was a possibility I could have canceled his boarding and really screwed that thing over if I was a little more diligent. But that's fine, let me just grab the point then. If my opponent wants to play the cat and mouse type of game, then by all means we'll play the cat and mouse type of game, although it might be more beneficial just to identify him before I do anything. If I had to guess, and I could conceal myself easily enough if I'm worried about long-range fire.
You have seized a strategic area.
Just gotta be mindful, there are likely frigates around. We've seen indication that there's probably a frigate over by there, since how else would the Retribution have been able to jump over there? I do need to kind of get some way to engage them. Fighting them in a death ball is not the best idea. Especially again, if I get revealed and there's a frigate nearby. Their lances can do some notable damage. Especially, yeah, I was gonna say, they are turning around. I am doing a bad job controlling my fleet. And there was a scanner pulse just a moment ago. Huh, just shield upgrades. Interesting. I wonder what to make of that. Although if I can engage this fleet, keep in mind there is like a 3-minute cooldown on the micro warp jump of this thing, so I would like to try and capitalize my damage if I can. And this thing will suffer a... Yeah, I just don't want the light cruiser to get isolated ideally. But if I could shoot down the point defense, that's what I really would like on this battleship. I can at least have easier means to detect and see when it might micro warp jump on me. And there's part of what I'm talking about already. 2 of my components just got destroyed there from the long range fire. So, if I can handle this weaponry decently enough, although I need to kind of side strafe is a bit of the problem. And engines being destroyed is a bad deal there. Holofield, you figure, would be helping me in this regard some. Now that could be a death sentence on this poor ship. With such an early critical hit there. Actually, let's try and focus this down and try not to fixate too much on the battleship. Now, let's force some response from my opponent here. This might hurt a bit. Although, unfortunately, I kind of did that poorly, did I now? Alright, we got good amount of damage. Let's go hide ourselves some. At least make the attempt quickly. destroy some of the point defense.
25% of
Disruption
strategic
bomb is going to
points.
be a big deal. But if I could conceal myself, and actually bomber is going to help in a little bit. That might be pretty good. Although bombers are still not doing anything of note.
Energize thrusters. I walk the mariner's path.
Yeah, it doesn't want to tell me when my my rate bone ships come back up, so that makes it a little tricky to gauge this properly.
We understand.
But we dodged those easily enough. Let's see if we can keep doing damage, because I am again doing a bad job with my control.
Where the winds guide.
And my bombers didn't actually do any damage, which is a little unfortunate. I would have liked them to have done a bit.
Bombers are in motion. Underway.
Alright. So sadly, I do not have the means to maximize my damage with a maelstrom, but I do have torpedoes here.
The winds rise.
Can I do the damage necessary is the big question.
Energize thrusters.
That's what I'm honestly curious about.
Coax forth new function. I stand ready. Raise sail.
Not nearly as much as impressive a damage as it could be, sadly. I would have liked a little bit more, but there's like a hit in. The hitbox is a little bit inaccurate on the Grand Cruiser's prow, is what happened there.
Boarding action has met its objectives.
Alright, just disengage, recover. We're doing well with 2 of these ships out. I just gotta grab points and
You have accumulated
ideally, again,
50%
reconceal
of
myself, because the
strategic
flagship took a notable amount of damage here.
We understand.
And then work from there. I sadly did not kill the frigate,
I walk the mariner's
so that's a factor that's going to be annoying.
Mariner's pirouette. Our foe is here.
And how are we doing on points? I have the lead, but with my hit point pool, that could easily go badly.
Rise.
You have seized a strategic
And I am currently marked. That's another important factor. They burnt the scanner pulse on my 2 ships here.
The
And dang
enemy
it,
has
I'm doing
accumulated
terrible control on my
50%
light
of
cruiser.
strategic points.
But I can wait here.
Relocating.
I can wait here to an extent until this expires some. I just gotta charge up my hull field though.
For the craft world.
So we know there's a frigate nearby. I'm probably not going to be able to destroy it, sadly.
For the
But let's see. Okay, they're concealed. Perfect. I have my maelstrom.
foe is here.
We're dodging that.
Relocating.
Well, that's convenient.
How may
And that's going to force them to boost. So hopefully I could take advantage of that. And Cobra's got destroyed, so that's convenient.
for the ancestors. Raise sail. Underway.
Now, lances are going to do a bit of damage, but hopefully we can hurt them some.
Stand ready. We
Because they're not marked, so I can easily just hide them.
for the craft world. Underway.
That's the hope anyway. Battleship. I would like to keep paying that.
Mariner's path.
Probably not the best idea,
The winds rise.
especially with me being spread out, but if I could keep the shields from recharging, that might be good.
Relocating. Mariner's pirouette.
I was hoping to ram that thing,
As foretold.
because otherwise I would have boarded it, because that could have worked out really well too.
Where the winds guide.
I don't have any torpedoes, so I gotta be very careful of this exchange.
Sail. Aspect warriors report.
Especially when they're rebelling on me. Oh yeah, group order again, that's what happened there. Kill that thing, because I need that thing to lose its shields quickly. Although it was nice of you to call arms at least.
Critical systems compromised.
Alright.
Relocating.
We got a good heading. The crews actually did enough damage here to be worthwhile. And these two ships are probably about to die.
Infiltration.
Or at least one of them is.
You have accumulated 75% of
Okay, I'm still alive. I'm still intact. Ideally, killing the frigate might be a good deal, because I'm taking a lot of macro cannon fire here at this kind of range. Actually, let me keep hitting the battleship. It is the flagship. I have quite a point lead, and I just burnt... hold that thought. I just burnt my pulsars on a bunch of wreckage, which is really sucky because I want to deny their shield recharge.
Where the winds guide.
Although I did kill the frigate, that's a plus there. And wow, a mutiny, that's convenient timing.
Underway.
I am scanner pulse though, but with the health that these two cruisers have, I should have this at this point. I want to believe I have this.
I walk the
If I don't kill quickly though, it's going to change.
Relocating.
Alright, another couple hits. You just go in the gas cloud. You are marked though, so let's not be oblivious to that. And this is just well, I was gonna say, is it a cruiser or a battle cruiser? If it was a regular cruiser, I could have been comfortable with my Phoenix, because they would have had no dorsal lances, but that thing could have killed off my two ships. Alright, that wasn't too bad, I suppose. I'm happy with that. It, again, was pretty rusty. I kind of left my poor little cruiser, or light cruiser, die. So, without a doubt, I need to get reacclimated. Because when I played against Space Marines, I think I was a little more aggressive than necessary. And that's probably due to my time with Imperial Navy, if I were to be honest. Alright, this is going to be interesting. We played against New Parain before, but I honestly, for the life of me, cannot remember what they were utilizing. And I hinted how fission is going to be a big liability here for me. I have the armor, and arguably, well, I was going to say maybe the firepower, but that's not really true to an extent. Compare their eclipses to my dragon ships. They have a bunch of, not las cannons, but star cannons. That on top of the 3 pulsar cannons, so this is going to be a weird match. I don't know if I should realistically expect this to go in my advantage, just because of them being able to get fission really well, but I do have a light cruiser that is kind of the hidden element here. Although, I want to throw my weight around is the main thing. So is it possible I can grab multiple points? Because I have the armor. I don't... Well, depending on what they're fielding, I could have the hit point advantage too. I just don't know what to realistically expect here. Without a bunch of las cans to do constant damage, and in theory, the las cans should be just better weapons straight up than my pulsars. So this is going to be awkward, I'm not going to lie. How do I shouldn't need extended range, but how do I... What would be a good alternative ability, though? I cannot really think of one. 20-point accuracy allows me to use asteroid belts. I don't think there's an upgrade that's actually useful that I could switch over to, aside for extended range. Alright, so... Oh, that wasn't what I wanted, dang it. But I have 5 seconds, so let's correct this quickly.
Relocating.
We're gonna have to use our wits about us here. And I heard them.
Energize thrusters.
Actually, let me switch my groups around, that'll be helpful here. And for getting the group U up is a big deal as well. So we got a frigate there. Cruisers
The enemy
or
has seized a strategic
flagship
area.
is over there. Or at least a voice
You
stalker.
have seized a strategic area.
I walk the mariner's path.
So what do I hope? Just area denial is probably the best I can really hope for here.
Raise sail.
I play very,
You have
very
seized a
cautious
strategic area.
and basically very passive.
I stand ready. Dark stars in flight.
And ideally don't get this light cruiser revealed. It's kind of my ace in the hole. But that's a light cruiser there.
As foretold.
That's all I can really tell ya.
I stand ready.
If I can get 3 points, I can play cautious.
We understand.
Which to an extent, this will help a little bit in that. Okay, I got visual.
For the craft world. The winds rise.
Just gotta be mindful that I'm probably gonna...
For the
Ah,
ancestors.
this is annoying. I'm doing a terrible job, I won't lie of this.
Sail.
But
For the ancestors.
if I can grab this point, that helps a little bit. But
I stand ready.
my light cruiser is about to get revealed too.
Relocating. For the craft world. Where the
I am gonna
winds
get shot at.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
How may I serve?
Yeah, this is terrible, and my generator just got immediately destroyed. I said I was supposed to play patient, I'm doing a terrible job of that.
For the craft.
Because now I just gave him basically a free ship kill.
The winds rise.
But this can force some...
For the craft.
This could force something out of him. Well, if they're just going to commit suicide. Although, I'm wondering, what happened to my generators on this other ship? That's what I'm curious about.
Where the winds guide.
Okay, I'm doing a bad job again, aren't I?
Catastrophic damage.
Yeah, this is just getting silly.
25% to strategic.
This is just getting dumb, this is getting silly. I gave my opponent basically everything. And somehow we're about to win this, and actually my engines are damaged too. Because you saw how easily they could have just killed off one of my cruisers for free.
I walk the mariner's path.
So I'm not happy with this match, I will be perfectly honest, I deserve a loss there.
Stand.
But we have the points, we have the numbers advantage now,
And ready.
and you need to repair your engines.
Winds rise.
Okay, we have a frigate there.
How may I serve?
I don't know how to really explain that.
As
Again, I need to play that really patiently, and my opponent had some really good critical hits there, I think. Because I'm trying to understand how my Phoenix had
You have seized
no
a strategic
hollow field,
area.
if I were to be perfectly serious.
For the craft world.
Oh well.
Energize thrusters.
A win's a win, it's probably just not the most exciting win, I'm afraid to say. I certainly don't feel good about it. That's not what you're here for, is it? But again, I have to relearn basically everything with my time with the Asuryani. Because I think the only time I played since my legendary attempt was back when I played Drukhari like once or twice, and that was pretty much it. And I almost want to say that was almost 5 or 6 months ago, so it was some time. So we're going to have to somehow get this rust off really quickly. Otherwise, these are just not going to be very exciting games if I just fumble my way to a victory. Okay, a Space Marine opponent, I don't recognize the name. But I am honestly curious on what they're utilizing. The main problem I will likely have with this fleet is just sheer absurd amount of hit points. Primarily battleships or a good number of grand cruisers that are just really hard to cripple through critical hits. since due to the absurd chance of getting a critical hit, keep in mind, the Aeldari are like the only faction, outside maybe Drukhari I think, that still get a 100% increase to their weapon critical strike. So when you factor in that these pulsars shoots 3 times, that's 35% chance critical hit, at least against frigates and light cruisers, they are very reliably gonna get that critical hit. But when you factor in battleships, that's a lot harder to do, which is probably why I had as much difficulty as I did with my first Space Marine opponent. So we'll see what happens here. And as much as I hate the spear crystal lenses, because it's currently bugged to pause the shield regeneration of basically anyone that's not currently pause, what is it, that doesn't use hollow fields or the hull colorization. It works on everyone basically, and I dislike using it immensely, but it is definitely an essential skill or upgrade to have at the same time. Now 5 ships. I want to say these are 5 strike cruisers, probably the one with the hangar bays that we saw before. It's looking possible, but there could be vanguards around. There could be all sorts of things around. I'm just going to boost all at once. Primarily so it can kind of mask my light cruiser, so that way they don't hopefully hear it moving and become aware of it. Since they can easily see my phoenixes and the rest of my fleet. Although since technically I was in the gas cloud, they might have been fooled anyway. Now, I would love to grab this third point. It probably is a little risky to do. Especially if my opponent's going to get super aggressive about it. Actually, let me just stagger my formation a bit, since I have been having ramming issues with these ships and... Oh, fighters, so... I did launch my own fighters, but sadly I can't use them in defense. I should have known this was coming. I even predicted it, damn it. But I can reveal them, which may not mean a whole lot in all honesty. But I can reveal them. I'll have the point defense to help out. And I do have Wraithbone Shift. I'm just wondering. So we detected everything. They all have fighter bays. And I'm wondering, yeah, it doesn't want to tell me when my Wraithbone Shift comes off cooldown. That's a little annoying. Nope. Here comes company, but this is why I have this, like, sweep-in maneuver. My point defense should activate and shoot down these Thunderhawks really quickly. Sadly, my own fighters are not going to be able to intercept the best. But I have a Wraithbone Shift to give me a tiny bit more breathing room, and at the last possible second... Actually, let me just have you grab this point. I don't think you're needed anymore. Although I should have launched fighters there a lot earlier, because shooting down their charges and limiting their potential is quite significant. I missed out an opportunity to kill off their charges. Actually, let me take out the 1 point there. And if it encounters a frigate, maybe I could do something about that. Now, Stasis Bomb. If I can, just do a little bit of dancing side strafing to help minimize the chance of macro cannons hitting me. So long as I'm not going to put me at risk of losing. Oh, here, speaking of which, here comes fighters. Here comes trouble. Alright, just reload and run. We did the damage needed. Although losing engines definitely does not help. So long as they can't do easy boarding. Oh yeah, they do have the skill as well to kind of allow for the disruption overcharge, basically. So I might suffer a little bit of attrition damage if I'm not careful here. Although, start moving. I need this moving. Sadly, I burnt my pulsar shots there. Repairs should come up in a moment, another 40 seconds.
Mariner's path
But we actually got hit with torpedoes. That's the one plus there.
for the ancestors.
Now, what I need to be careful of.
Sail
Let's hit this thing hard.
for the Asuryani.
We need to hit this thing hard and kill it immediately. Although that's not helping very much, I'm afraid to say. Because it survived just barely.
Relocating.
Having my shots be staggered a tiny bit, but I still have weapon fire. Stasis bomb's going to be good. And I could set up my shot here quite well.
Let song coax forth new function.
You have accumulated 25% of strategic
There.
points.
Our engine's gone.
You have seized a strategic area.
Sadly, my flagship's pretty much screwed at this point. Nope, and I think I may have rammed myself too as an unfortunate downside.
Holding fire.
And of course, shooting the wreckage is never a good sign. But we're doing the damage necessary. Let the Phoenix take the hits. It may not be the most impressive thing, but keep in mind, my opponent's also spread out,
For the craft world.
and my engines are down. That I don't like.
Underway. Bombers are in motion. I stand ready.
There, engines are down there. More engines down.
Winds rise.
I think so, anyway. Now, can we kill this hard? Pretty damn close.
For the ancestors.
Now, let's seal the deal, shall we?
Accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Underway. How may I serve?
Alright, we're done toying for our prey. It was scary, it was tense,
Guide.
but we just merely outlasted them.
For the ancestors.
Can I do enough point defense damage to these assault ships, though? Is the main question.
Walk the mariner's path.
Because I was hoping to get more pulsar shots in this one ship.
Aspect warriors report boarding 6.
Okay, you're still doing your job, thankfully. I almost kind of forgot about you. I was kind of controlling that light cruiser out of habit. If I was serious.
Strike has them crippled.
But they're down to one ship. At least one cruiser.
The enemy has
I have a
seized
good point
strategic
lead.
area.
And I think this Phoenix is just relegated to grabbing points. All its engines are currently completely gone, I believe. Aww,
For the ancestors.
that's a shame. At least I like to think that worked out pretty well, but again,
You have accumulated
well, Corsairs
75%
technically are as close to pirates as you can get, so you're not entirely wrong. But still, they almost broke me there. My Phoenix, with 4 engine components, keep that in mind, are all permanently down. And it almost died in the process. Although I do honestly wonder why they have auger disruptors. Because they had the right idea with disruption overcharge, which I didn't really factor into that. If I were to be serious though, I believe what cost them the most was, of course, spreading out. That was a factor. That one cruiser could have supported them. Maybe I crippled his engines, but the fact that they were carrier type of ships as well. It can be really easy to mitigate and manage the fighters, especially with Aeldari of all things. My Wraithbone shift, especially if I can get the bombers or assault ships on their own, I could just wait until the last possible second, boost away, and then I have that much more time to shoot them down. Never mind how easy it is to just shoot down assault ships on their own. And worst case, if I can plan it out properly, even if they have a fighter screen, I could just launch fighters, or even, if I'm desperate enough, fire torpedoes to draw the fighters away. But that requires good precision and timing to get that done right. To force the fighters to go after my own fighters or torpedoes, so that way the bombers are all by themselves and can't be protected.